Hey, comic book collectors, do you want to protect what you collect? Do you hate when your comic books slide around in your short box, or you need to turn them sideways just so they don't bend or fall over? Well, look no further than Sidekick Supplies. Their product fits firmly inside your comic box, so you don't need to worry. And not only is their product made in the USA, but also ships free directly to your doorstep. Check out our sponsor, Sidekick Supplies, at sidekicksupplies.com and use the code ComicTom15 for 15% off your purchase. Believe me, you'll be ordering more than one.
Welcome to the one and only ComicTom podcast, your podcast for comic book news, reviews, and comic community drama, with your hosts, Nemesis Prime and Milton the Manimal. Are you listening?
What's up, party people? We are back to ComicTom podcast. It is October the 3rd. First week of October, man. It's crazy. I love October. It's one of my favorite months of the year. But I do feel like it snuck up on me. And like all of a sudden it was like here. And now I'm like, oh shit. And New York Comic Con's coming up. And my wife's got me like trying to figure out what we're doing for Halloween costumes. And I got a job and a life and other problems. But you know, I do love October. I love October. I'm excited for it on the East Coast. It's starting to cool down out here. And you know how we do on the podcast. Justin and I like to talk weather. What's the weather like out there, Justin?
Dude, it's fucking hot out here.
Oh,
it was like
sucks.
75 degrees today. I actually had to wear like a long sleeve work shirt and tie, and I was sweating after lunch. But this is actually interesting. So real quick, you know, again, the weather talk for us old people.
For the old guys.
This is because you get to experience Halloween in like a different temperature, because you're usually doing Halloween in like Texas. So
yeah.
it could be like cold, it could be shitty, you know.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to it though, with the trees and like even there's at my house I got a bunch of big trees like in the yard, which is new for me. Well, not new, like it's not like I've never seen trees before, but like I mean, I grew up in Idaho where we had a ton of trees, and Missouri and stuff like that. But lately, obviously in El Paso, no trees. So it's already nice to see like the leaves kind of falling, and my neighborhood seems like there's a lot of kids, which is going to be really fun because I miss like Halloween activities and like the watching my neighborhood. I feel like my old neighborhood, there weren't a lot of kids like roaming around and stuff. So I'm hoping I'll have time to kind of get into it and have some fun. I love Halloween. So, but the weather, man, yeah, it's cooled down. There has been some hot days. Obviously, you know, side note, prayers out to everyone who's suffering through the hurricane stuff. I don't know if we got any listeners out there in like North Carolina, but you know, thoughts and prayers. Hope everyone's safe. But I feel like we got some of that rain the past couple of days up here. It's been super rainy about the past week in here. And then I had to go down to Richmond the other day, and it was super rainy down there too. So I don't know if that's like leftover from this hurricane stuff, but today was nice. Today's really nice.
Good.
So, but yeah, you know, looking forward to it. Looking forward to it all. We got New York Comic Con coming up here in a couple of weeks where we're going to meet up again. Dude, it's like fucking 5th time we've got to see each other this year. Things are crazy now that I'm on the East Coast.
Every month, man. It's like you know, and you get to see all different people.
Yeah.
The Terrificon crew is definitely different from the Baltimore crew, which is definitely different from the New York Comic Con people.
Yeah.
So, and even if we don't even do this stuff with people, it's fine.
There's one guy I don't plan on hanging out with or taking any pictures with at all because he's just burned me lately.
Oh, so. Who's that?
Comic Dunes.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, what happened there?
A lot of hate for Comic Dunes right now. Got a lot. This guy likes to take all these pictures, hang out with me all weekend, not take one picture with me, and then you know, so a little upset.
Unreal, right?
A little upset. Yeah. So anyway, let's get into the community because Comic Dunes is not part of the community, so we're going to move past him and go to real community stuff. We got a big October coming up. Justin, what do we got going on? You kind of kickstarted it the other night, actually.
Yeah, we did. Nice little segue. So so we this month we're doing a lot of bonus content with a lot of creators who are launching their Kickstarters for the month of October. So we're calling it Kickstartober. I came up with that. Don't copyright that. We did just drop the episode the other day. So we had James from Mad Love Comics. He's dropping his Kickstarter, which just started a few days ago as well, for his ongoing series Madison. So you can go ahead and it actually got funded. He didn't have really like a high threshold, but you know, continue to support. It's got, you know, 25 plus days left. There's a ton of cool covers by a ton of different artists. I grabbed the Ryan Kincaid one. You know Ryan Kincaid.
Yeah.
His cover was really cool. And then and I got a chance to read the story, so it was interesting, and I'm definitely going to go it. The first story arc is about 10 issues. We'll end up having Nicole Bruin, who's the writer, on here at some point, once they do like the second issue or whatever. But then for the following couple of weeks, man, we have a couple of New Jersey guys and PA guys. We got Carmen Costa talking about Proctor. We got a chance to read the first 2 issues a while back here on the podcast. Our buddy Scott Palachek, he'll be on here next week. Nope, he'll be on here in 2 weeks, right before New York Comic Con, to talk about Marvis, which comes out in that Kickstarter is actually live right now, so you can go ahead and do the Kickstarter for that. And then we'll have Paul, I can't think of his last name off the top of my head, but he has a book called Project Niosis. He's another New Jersey guy, and I got to meet him. He's a buddy with V. Ken Marion. I got to meet him at Terrificon, and he was at Baltimore as well. So all these guys have Kickstarters launching this month. So I figured, you know what? Let's do some bonus content. Let's give them, special episodes so we can just talk their stuff and a little bit about their comic book that they're writing. So all month long, we have a ton of stuff, and please, we'll be posting it and supporting all of these guys.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's always important to support local or even comic book community members who are kind of doing their own thing. Obviously, everyone's reading the big boy books, but if we don't have new writers and new creatives coming into the hobby, we never get new stuff. So it's important to check these things out and support these. It's not a heavy lift. I mean, don't buy a couple DC books or Marvel books that week if you can't afford it, and pick up one of these guys' books, because it's definitely worth it. And some of these stuff, I mean, we've read the Proctor stuff. Obviously, we read Marcus, and you said you read James
Madison.
Mad Loves, right? Yeah, Madison. So I haven't checked out Project Niosis yet, but I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, man, I think it's fun. It's fun supporting the Kickstarters. There's also like a weird endorphin thing going on when you watch like a Kickstarter and you get funded. And then like I noticed with the G.I. Joe one, which obviously is probably like a little outside the norm because it was so wild, but it was fun to watch. But same with like, V. Ken's stuff that he did, the Soul Strike Battle Soul Striker. It's just fun. I kind of get a kick out of that stuff. And now I've been on a kind of a tear with Kickstarters. I got the Legacy of Kane Kickstarter already too. It's all funded. So
yeah, there's the most recent, the Dynamite Comics. They're doing the Transformers trading cards, the 40th anniversary G1 trading cards, which is really cool. So
yeah, those are cool.
And that just went up, and that got crazy funded.
Yeah.
I think it was like a $20,000 goal. They were, last time I checked, I think they were at 200,000.
Wow.
And it was only a week ago. So, again, that's why I want Skybound, man, to do that Transformers Volume 1 from Marvel. Like, give me that omnibus compendium. Like,
yeah. Once I don't know how they're not going to do it after the G.I. Joe was so successful, so. But yeah, so check those out. Tune in to our special episodes. Those are going to be bonus content episodes that we drop, in addition to our weekly episodes. So make sure you check those out. Kind of staying with community, kind of going to the other side of the community.
I got one more thing. I got one more thing. Don't forget, this weekend, if you're listening to this early enough, you have the King Kong Trick or Trade show. So it's not set up like the normal King Kong shows that our buddy Greg MTG Comics does. It is only 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock at the Old Rathskeller, the Old Rathskeller in Cranford, New Jersey. Bunch of people just kind of hanging out in the community. You can bring some books to trade or whatever. There are going to be tons of raffles, tons of giveaways. And then, it's just kind of like a hangout for a couple hours. And then whoever's around, we may go hit up a couple comic shops and see what happens after that. So if you're listening to this early enough, it's literally, I'd say, 5 minutes off the Garden State Parkway here in New Jersey. So, and you can't get lost. It's perfect. It's literally, I think you could almost see it from the highway. So you definitely cannot get lost trying to find this place if you want to come, whether you're coming from the south, the north, west, whatever.
East.
So that's the east. So yeah, that's that.
Cool. So yeah, so check that out. King Kong Trick or Treat. That's what's called.
Trick or Trade.
Trick or Trade. So more Halloween stuff. So unfortunately, I won't be able to make that one, but that's good stuff, man. Greg and everything Greg does, the MTG, always awesome. So if you guys get a chance, hit that up. So yeah, so moving on from kind of positive community stuff to maybe negative community stuff. We gotta talk about every aspect of the community. So we we talked about whether or not we were going to talk about this, and obviously it's kind of cooled because everyone's news in the media cycle is usually like a 1-2 day thing, and then it's gone, right? But
Yeah.
we definitely kind of got to speak on. We want to speak on a little bit the obviously a little bit of drama. This which kind of came off first to me like it was concocted and like it was all artificial. What it was going to be, but it turned out to kind of be more than that, which was Sticky Goose. I hate even saying versus. It was a Sticky Goose episode featuring, I'm going to say that, ComicTom, right? So all of you may know, some of you may not. Gentleman in the comic book community, in the YouTube community, named Sticky Goose, kind of made a name for himself of late with sensationalized videos. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not trying to be disparaging here. I'm just trying to kind of get his everything he's done recently in a nutshell. He's kind of like made some videos about people, things that have rubbed people the wrong way a little bit. He kind of talked about some of the YouTube creators. He kind of tackled Gem Mint for a little while. Stuff like that, right? How would you kind of describe it?
Yeah, I'd say he kind of went after them. You know,
kind of went after
he's
some
got
people
the
in a
there's the
jokey
sticker
satire, but like also not jokey. You know,
there's the sticker people out there that he says. There's the different types of collectors. So he threw a lot of people under the bus on that. Those type of videos, and you know, hey,
yeah, he's a little polarizing, maybe kind of character, right?
Yeah.
And I think in fairness, I think some of it's more or less satire. Some of it's kind of taken as like a joke. He's almost like a heel, like a wrestler, the villain, like the heel in a way. I feel like he's kind of playing that role. But anyway, so we had ComicTom on his show, and it was interesting, honestly. I don't know how much we want to break it down. I'll give my like kind of my opinion of it. I've never been the biggest fan, I guess, or like supporter of ComicTom in the past, but I'm gonna be honest, I watched this video and I think my opinions changed a little bit. I got a little bit more. I'm gonna say a little bit more. I have respect for Tom now. Maybe I kind of see Tom in a different light now from what maybe I was thinking, and I'm kind of can admit that maybe I've been wrong about Tom. Don't get me wrong, I think there's some stuff I don't agree with, but that's fair. Everyone can agree and disagree on things. And his content's not necessarily for me, but it's for a lot of other people. But yeah, man, I was impressed. I think my stance on ComicTom has changed completely. So
yeah, it was weird because I kind of agree with you a little bit. The fact that you got a different side of Tom. There's a lot of things that happen in this live show that he talks about, and you can kind of see it. There's parts where he says, well, it takes 3 or 4 hours sometimes to record and edit a video that's like 15 minutes. And you got to see him for whatever, 40, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half, just kind of riff, just kind of talk. There's no script stuff. It's just going back and forth. You don't know too much of what Sticky Goose was going to say. So, he kind of had to come up with stuff on the fly. He was kind of quick. He was kind of, even dickish at times. And it is what it is with Tom.
Wait, who was dickish? Who did you think was dickish? Tom or Sticky?
I think Tom at times was kind of like
really?
throwing. Yeah, no. I mean, in a just kind of like throwing a little, because obviously Sticky Goose threw a lot of shade. So like Tom would come back with like little quirks, and it would be kind of like a dickish thing, but not dickish as in a mean way, just dickish as in, like
I thought it was pretty
jab.
Justified. I didn't think I didn't think he attacked him. Honestly, it was weird. I think that was what was so weird about it was like I said, when I think you told me about it, I was like, oh gosh, that sounds like this is make believe. Like it kind of felt like this is not going to be a real thing. Like this is just, a farce. And even then, as I was watching it, I was kind of like, what's going on here? And it didn't seem like, felt like Sticky Goose was maybe a little unprepared, or he got flustered or whatever, because he was like off his. It was definitely some fanboyishness going on for a little while, and then it felt like he maybe remembered that he was supposed to try to be, Sticky Goose, right?
Like
the bad
said,
guy,
the heel.
Yeah, and then he tried to go after Tom, but I felt like Tom had great answers, man. And a lot of the sticking points that people get Tom on, which like the mystery mailbox and the your encouraging sales on books and like boosting sales and stuff like that. I thought Tom answered really well. First off, the mystery mailbox, like bro, like, I mean, that's not for me, and I'm not going to spend money on it, but everyone's entitled to spend their money how they want to, and he's selling them. So people want them. There's a desire for them. So like, I have no shame on him. I mean, in my opinion, it's no different than like, I mean, it's different because this guy's a complete scumbag, but like the people who buy Epic Nation books, I'm like, well, who buys this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But like, it's their money. And
at least he's putting out, at least he's giving
putting
you
out comics,
comic books, not
yeah.
just like
And he
whatever the
does
hell.
special things. He gets art from the people and the artists and the contacts he's made. Like, so it's not just, you know, random stuff. He puts a little thought into it. I'm sorry, not a little. He puts thought into it. But yeah, dude, I mean, it's not for me. It's not for everyone, but it's for people. He's selling. So like, I don't think you can attack him on that, dude. Like, stop. If you don't like it, don't buy it. That's really all there is to it. So
yeah, I think, you know what the problem was, and we kind of briefly talked about it, and I wanted to make sure that, you know, we brought this stuff up. You know, with Sticky, he's a newer YouTuber. He's only been around for 4 years. This literally was like his 4th live show, I think it was, because he had Gem, he had Swaggle Haas, he had somebody else maybe, or even if he didn't, there was like this was like the 4th one. Again, he's newer, so that means he's kind of he's a COVID content creator. And again, nothing against anybody who's been on this channel. You all know that we love you. But there are those COVID content creators, right? And I think he was nervous with Tom because he even said it multiple times. You know, he's like, "Oh, I'm kind of nervous, this and that." And
yeah, Tom's the big name.
Yeah, you know, and there's a lot of comments that came out with this too, like, oh, if it wasn't for Tom, like a lot of you people wouldn't be content creators and stuff like that. Yeah. And I was just like, whoa, let's hold this back. Hold this back a little bit.
Probably true with the COVID people, but not us before. Yeah.
Could be true with the 2020, 2021 people. You know, even like the 2019 people. But you know, I was like, let me push back a little bit on this because I need to speak on this as being an old school content creator. And I don't mean old school, like I've only been doing this 7 years, 8 years, maybe, God knows. But like when I think of those content creators, I think of the NY Warriors, I think of Lords of the Long Box.
Yeah.
I think of 3 Men in a Basement. You know, what Marty was doing, the comic book fanatic guys, like those guys, like and again, like this was just the beginnings of my YouTube stuff. So I never knew who Tom was. The only reason I knew the name was because when I was live early on in the Lord of the Long Box days, is Tom would go before Lords or like right after and Tim would be like, hey, thanks for everybody for jumping over from Comic Tom's channel, like the ComicTom101. And I was like, oh, what's that? And I never really didn't really know anything. I was like, oh, okay, whatever, cool.
Yeah.
But I never watched Tom and be like, man, I got to do this. And I agree with you. And I agree with you on like, it's not for everybody, right? Tom's stuff is not for everybody. It's 15 minutes of talking books and talking prices, but what is it really doing for 90%? I think I would say the majority of the people that come on this podcast, our friends that put out content, do more for comic books than he does. In my opinion, again, I'm sure there's people that like and hate him that listen to us, but you know, we do the reads. We talk upcoming books. We talk, you know, we don't really talk spec. We used to a little bit, but like, you know, like we have people that are on here that do like FOC and all the new release stuff. And that's the stuff that brings people into the hobby, that continues new books, that continues brick and mortar stores to continue, not sales of 50-year-old books or 20-year-old books that it's a little bit harder to come by, right? Like you should be looking towards the future, which is new books for people to read and then be like, oh, I'm going to go check out that old book. Because I feel like if you went back and you bought an old book just to buy it, to have it, you're not really reading that book. And then you're like, oh, I want to read something now, right? Because we've talked about that over the years, is old writing is not as good as new writing.
Yeah, you know, I agreed with some of the stuff he said, and I disagreed with some of the stuff he said. Like in general, I like the comments he made about he's like, hey, look, like we have to be, you know, LCSs and all these people aren't putting out content. So by people like him and us and other people putting out, you know, that's marketing. You're putting it, you're keeping the hobby alive. And I think he's correct in like in a very general way. He is very correct with that. And I agree with you. And I'm not saying he doesn't, right? I mean, like you said, all of his books and all the things that he talks about on the hot top 10, for the most part, it's rare that there's going to be like a modern book on there. I don't necessarily, I'm with you. I don't believe that back issues are keeping LCSs alive. They're not. I think if you went to an LCS, they're going to tell you that. And I feel like he should know better than anyone, really, because his buddy owns an LCS. But I think the biggest chunk of their stuff is the new books, right? I mean, that's what kind of keeps the doors open. And then you make your additional money on your back sales and the collections you pick up or whatever.
Oh,
but
100%.
If new books stop coming out, I mean, this will dry up. It will. Like if tomorrow publishers are just like, we're done with all this. Like, okay, you guys had 80 years of comics, enjoy. Like, I mean, that's it. The hobby's done. It's done. You can't, like, you just enjoy silver and golden age forever. Right? I mean, you can, but like, have no new content. Now, in his defense, he already created his own comics. So he is also contributing as well to modern comics and keeping the hobby alive. So yeah, like, he's very true. Not saying I wish he would do this. I think you could do more, but like, everyone picks their avenue and what works for him. So like, good on him. That works for him. And, maybe he doesn't like the new comics or the stuff like that, but that is a big portion of it, in my opinion, as well, that is left out from his channel. But at the same time, you can't do everything. Right. So, I think, I don't know, man. Like, all in all, I felt like Tom really, really expressed himself well. He explained himself. He said, hey, look, like, I'm not driving up prices. I think my other, I don't want to say gripe, because that's a pretty strong word, but one of the things I disagree with Tom is, and this is just a philosophical difference, I feel like, is Tom's a very positive person, right? And I mean, like, I got to call him out on this a little bit if you ever listen to this, whatever, but saying Madam Web is a good movie. Like, okay, man. I mean, now, in his defense, he did also say, the bar is set pretty low for him when it comes to movies. And I actually kind of feel the same way. I am of the mindset of like, if it takes me out of my life for for an hour or two and it entertains me, boom, it did its job. But I think, as in the comic book community, we kind of have to hold comic book movies to a bit of a higher standard. But so yeah, my disagreement with Tom is I do feel like he is overly positive on things, and I get it. This is his business as well. This isn't a hobby for us. It's not a business for us. So like, no burning bridges and stuff like that. I get that idea, but I do think there should be some critique and criticism of things in the hobby, books, writing, art, movies, those things. Like, because if you don't critique things, and not everything's gold, man, not everything's gold. If we don't critique them, we are not holding creators to the standard, and we won't be inducing better creativity and better writing and better art and things like that. You have to tell people like, no, that sucks. I mean, you think they don't see that, or you think they don't know, and they're like, okay, yeah, ooh, that one really was not very good. So besides, what's his name? I'm going to mind blank right now. Frank Miller. Besides Frank Miller.
Oh yeah. His art,
who just puts out shitty art over and over again right now. I think most artists are like, okay, that didn't really hit, and I'm going to adjust a little bit. Same with writing. So I do think that is one thing I disagree with him on, is his over positivity about things is, I don't feel like, very conducive. But once again, to each their own. And speaking on that real quick too, just that idea of like, there is this stance, and I think this is like a cultural thing, and I think we've talked about it before. There's a stance right now that if you say anything bad about anything, you're a hater and you're a bad guy and you're negative and blah, blah, blah. I'm so sick of this, dude. Like, I'm so sick of these people who are just, everyone is so sensitive, and everyone has such like, everyone's so triggered. You cannot like something. You are right to not like something. In fact, I might go on an arc these next couple months and just defend the haters, because I feel like everyone's getting blamed to be a hater. Like, hater lives matter, bro. HLM, hate away, hate your heart away. But like, come on, dude. Like, not everything's gold out here. So
yeah.
All in all, man, I liked the interview.
Yeah.
It was strange.
It was strange. Yeah, exactly. That's the word. And a lot of people took it as like a boxing match, and obviously everybody's talked about it. He even did like a response video, and then the response video was a satire thing, which I thought was funny. There are some people that did videos, and again, I'm not going to bring up
some
names.
coattail riders out there, man.
Yeah, there's some people that didn't really need, like, their videos were stupid, and again, I'm not going to name names, but yeah, overall it is, it's interesting to see Tom in a different light, right? Because normally it's just the Comic Tom we've seen on like the Whatnot, YouTube, which is again all edited stuff, or I guess if you see him at a show, but who knows realistically? Like that is actually a different time to actually see him in an interview where it's not not the fact that it's going to be so positive, because I think he was on MJ Comics the day before or something like that, and that guy's like a nice guy. He's just going to interview you and enjoy it. Like if he was on here and you and I would have interviewed him, it'd be like it is now. Like anytime we've done any interviews with people or just have guests on, we'd just be two normal guys who have different types of jobs talking to a guy who is into comics, right? And yeah, we're gonna throw stuff at him that maybe people don't ask him or why he does certain things, and that's just
yeah. I thought he handled himself well. I thought he had good answers, and I mean, say what you will, whether he's your cup of tea or not. I mean, the dude is the name in the comic book community, so he's the top dog, and he does good things, man. I mean, he's successful, and more power to him, man. I wish him the best. So, yeah, interesting stuff. Will the goose rise again? I don't know, because it's the end of the goose. Is it cooked? I don't know.
Hey, listen, Sticky is always welcome on this show. Just a shit talk. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, more power to him too, man. More power to him too. If that's his lane and his avenue, I got no hate on that either. Like
whatever you want to do, man.
You do you, man. So anyway, moving on. Let's get to some books, dude. We haven't talked about books in a while.
Yes, sir.
So let's start with, and obviously we're not going to go. Let's start with the events, dude, because we've really been skimping on the events, and we had an event end this week.
Yep.
Let's get into Absolute Power. We'll kind of gloss over and kind of cruise through the end. I know we were being pretty specific on the earlier issues week by week, but let's just kind of jump into it. What's your overall feeling from, if you can remember back, what was your overall feeling from how it started to how it ended?
I enjoyed it every issue. I really did.
Okay.
Like I enjoyed reading the storyline, and even knowing that they were going to do like a new Justice League. So I knew that somehow the Justice League was going to come back.
Yeah.
There's times where I didn't know certain things were going to happen. There's obviously in DC, there's the big multiverse thing. So we get a lot of, in this final issue, you get a lot of different multiverse characters just randomly show up. Even if it's for like a panel or two, at least they tell you who it is. Overall, I think I enjoyed the series. My problem was I read the DC All In special before I read this, so I made that mistake.
Yeah.
I will say, and not really like a spoiler, but I got it, man. Dreamer is actually, I think she raised the bar a little bit as a character. Like she got some upgraded powers.
Yeah.
Right. So I actually like her a little bit more than what she was prior to this series. So I could see her being a little bit higher on the echelon of DC characters, and maybe one day be a Justice Leaguer. You never know. But
yeah,
I do like, some stuff that happened with her. So overall, I thought the Absolute Power was actually a very good event for DC. And they don't do too many events after events. And that too. Yeah. Like, it's in there. It was in their main roster. I think last week they had the final issue of the Origins with Amanda Waller. There was the final issue of Task Force. And I think there was a Green Lantern tie-in as well.
Yeah.
Or Green Arrow tie-in. I'm sorry. Yeah. And then this week we just had the final issue, issue 4. So what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it too. I liked it was tight. I liked it. It was not sprawling as opposed to the next event. We'll talk about like Venom War. Obviously has like a lot more titles involved in there. It was a little bit more tight. I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I didn't think it didn't blow me away by any means, but I did kind of find the story arc of Green Arrow to not have as much importance as I feel like they wanted it to. Like he was so when this isn't too much of a spoiler, man, because I feel like everyone knows this is going to happen, that he was end up being like a double agent at the end, right? I felt like it didn't have it wasn't as important as it was supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I was like, oh yeah, okay. Like I wasn't floored by, he hadn't done enough throughout the event to like play both sides, right? Like you'd only kind of seen him like, oh, he's a bad guy. He turned in his family, did all this. I feel like to make it stronger, they should have had him also secretly showing him do stuff that was like encouraging and helping the good guys that they didn't know, right? Like almost like a Deep Throat, like kind of feeding them information, but they don't know where it's coming from or something. Because it was just kind of like, oh yeah, he did all this, and then There was almost like a MacGuffin too as well, where it was like, oh, Martian Manhunter gave me this like mind telepathy blocker,
Yeah.
like, and it was like, wait, that was what was in the box like 3 years ago. Like, come on, dude. I don't know. That was kind of a little weak to me, but it was good. I liked it. I don't know. I will say this, and this goes for Marvel too, but like these events, I feel like you need to keep them even tighter, right? This event was sprawling in terms of all the characters, right? And you kind of even mentioned it too. You had all these multiverse characters just popping in, and like even all these issues in the background, Elongated Man, Plastic Man, you got all these guys all in the background doing all these things. There was the whole bit about like some of their powers came back to the wrong person, right? And then in the All In special, that was not addressed. So like, I don't even know if that's going to be something moving forward. We'll see. But I almost think it would have been better to like make it tighter, but like I get she was the idea of all the heroes, right? But all in all, I liked it. I think it was good. I'm excited. I won't spoil the All In special, but that was pretty cool. I like kind of words. It's very interesting. It's a different kind of take on Darkseid a little bit, but I'm interested to see where it goes, and it should be pretty cool. But all in all, I think B plus A minus for an event.
Yeah, I would say I enjoyed it. I can't even think of the last event that we kind of did. Like, I guess their last thing was what, the Beast.
Yeah, the Beast War, Beast Hunt, or whatever it was.
Yeah, with the Teen Titans. But
yeah,
the DC All In special. Not to spoil anything. I think the only my gripe with that was the fact that they always try to put Booster Gold as like the main focus anytime they got to time travel. Right?
Yeah, and I'm not a big Booster fan. I mean, I don't. That's more because I just don't know a lot about them. Like, I haven't read a lot about them, but I don't like it when they do. I mean, I guess that's not true. I don't know, dude. I'm thinking out loud here, and I'm changing my opinion as I think, because like I'm like, oh, why are they doing some like off tier character? But at the same time, you might hear me complain like it's always Batman, or something like that. But like,
he was such a main focus. So he's a main focus in this, and we don't know really what's going to happen to him. But then he was also a main focus in Heroes in Crisis, and of all the DC characters, like you can't pick somebody else to have, like this.
Who else
hey,
has
I'll do this
time travel in DC?
I guess, yeah. And you don't want to do Flash because then he would be lost without a title.
Well, yeah, and he's the same thing, really, right? He's like always the time guy. Is there anyone else? I did like they brought Dr. Light back, and check out V. Ken Marion's new issue. Was the Halloween issue with Dr. Light.
Yeah. That was really cool. We were texting each other.
Yeah, I like Dr. Light. She's a cool character. But yeah, man, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what happens with Booster. I'm not super interested in Booster, like, and I feel like every time it's always like, oh, it's got Skeeter or whatever his name is, Screet, or Skeet, and then how many times did he make a comment like, don't tell Ted, hey guys, don't tell Ted, like, dude, no one cares.
Ted's my boy.
No one talks to Ted Cord anyway either. Like, that guy's not in anything anyway, dude. No one's talking to Ted. He's the least popular Blue Beetle. So, but yeah, anyway. Okay, moving on to the next event. Let's talk Venom War. We came out with Venom War number 3. There's gonna be 5 total.
So we had the Venom Zombiotes last week.
Yeah.
And then we had the Venom Spider-Man issue 3 this week, and the Venom War 3 this week as well. So
okay. I don't know, man. Like, I mean, it's just all over the place, but it feels like nothing's happening. Am I right there? Like, every issue I see Flash Thompson now, like, shooting anti-venom at someone. He's like, oh, I'm changing all these zombies back to people. And then, like, I don't know. You have Meridius, and then you got, like, Carnage is now there, kind of like watching. I just feel like it's been a lot of stuff with not a lot happening. This issue was a little bit more. Venom War 3 kind of had a little bit more stuff going on. Some, like, callbacks to Doom and callbacks to Kang, and like some older issues of Venom.
Which, see, like, I didn't read those issues, so I didn't know any of this.
Yeah, that was cool.
These setups, cool. But yeah, like, this is definitely a changing of the series. Like, this is definitely the Empire Strikes Back part of
right.
The
Venom War. It's changing.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff that there was some stuff that happened. I would think, the changing of where Venom was, and Yeah, so there's the Red Goblin stuff, there's the Flexo, Sleeper stuff, there's, the Venom host itself.
Yeah, this issue for sure has kind of been like a good one. I feel like all the other ones, I'm still kind of like, I don't know, dude, what's really going on here?
Yeah.
But
I gotta say though that the last page of what Dylan looks like, dude, he looks cool.
Yeah.
He looks badass.
Cool. Yeah, I like that they did that. But then it sucks too because we know there's going to be an all new Venom, right? And it's not going to be Dylan or Eddie. And so I hate it. It's also kind of what happened with like the All In special, right? Like I get it. You got to like promote your stuff, and then it's hard to do it. I don't know how to do it correctly, but and also like now I'm just kind of like, okay, cool, dude. Like I don't really care. Neither one of these guys are gonna be Venom. Like nothing's really gonna happen. I don't know, but it's okay. I'm kind of middle of the pack. It's nothing great, nothing horrible yet.
What did you think of the Venom Spider-Man #3? How that went, and then where that's gonna go? Like
the Spider-Man Venom War Spider-Man 3. That's
the
one issue I forgot to read.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It was it kind of makes Peter kind of the King in Black, basically, and he's like, it's older. It's like in the future. He's inside. It's almost like going to be taking over as Null, kind of.
Okay,
you'll actually see it. So, he's fighting way in the future. He's fighting He's fighting the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, like street level characters, and he's like older. You could tell. And it's Venom telling him, it's like, if you continue down this path, this could be you.
I did like the interaction between like Venom and Peter in this issue, in the Venom War issue 3, and how he was kind of like talking to him, and he was like, what happened at the end. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So the way Venom 3 kind of continues, if you read it, Venom 3 ends how the Venom War kind of right towards the end, where he shows up and then gives him the symbiote.
Okay.
Like the way it goes.
I'm gonna read it then. I meant it. I had it and I just forgot to read that one.
I recommend it.
Yeah.
And then they're still doing another issue because they still got to deal with the fallout of Jackpot, like with Mary Jane and the I don't know what the hell, Arkanoid thing. Whatever that big creature is that they're fighting. So
gotcha.
Well, what else? What else you got this week or last week?
There's some good books this week, man. I'm sure you want to talk about Batman, right? So I'm going to move on from that.
I mean, we can kind of talk about it together. It's fine. You can take it because there's definitely a couple weird issues to talk about. So
it's cool. I mean, once again, also it was a good issue. It felt weird. I shouldn't have read it before finishing. Before finishing the other stuff, because
everything.
It does feel weird. Because it's like now every issue before this was tied into Absolute Power, but decent issue. I like this take on I think it's kind of cool, this idea with Riddler kind of being like a tech mogul. I think it's interesting view of him and kind of being like out in the world and being like, yo, he's a victim. Like, honestly, it feels like that's the shit that happens in the real world. Honestly, as I was reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what happens. This is what currently happens now. Like, you have people who are like murderers who are now like, oh my gosh, they're such great guys. Let's give them a second chance. You know what I mean? Like, they're victims of their situation. No, they're not. They're murderers. Like the who is it? The mayor, Nakano. I'm like, yes, 100% I agree with this guy. This guy's a murderer. Doesn't matter if he was like a victim or not, but
he was being tortured in Arkham, and they made him do it. They made him do it for the past 50 years, right?
Right. They made him do these elaborate puzzles. Like, what the hell, dude? So, I think it's interesting. I thought it was cool, and I liked how Batman is kind of supporting it as Bruce Wayne. Like, he's kind of feeding him money, but he's keeping an eye on him. He's like, he's a part of the rehabilitation in a way, which is interesting.
He's always a part of the rehabilitation.
Right.
It's just, it sucks that, they never really go through it.
Never do.
They eventually going to fuck Bruce Wayne or Batman, or, because now he wants to merge with Wayne Tech to get some of that stuff. And then there's that new first appearance of the character. Who is it? Commander Steel.
Was that his name?
Commander Star. Sorry, Commander Star. Yeah. I felt that was very political. It was the way, because it's like, I served my country, this and that, and now I come home and I want to just, I want to protect my city, and the cops are just like, hey, yeah, sure. You did all this, and then they're like, arrest Batman. He's a vigilante. Okay.
Yeah, and there's definitely some Vandal Savage stuff going on with that. He obviously probably has like some connection to Vandal, so it's like his guy on the inside or whatever. But it's like toy. But it was a good issue. Chip's great, man. Chip's still doing a really great job. I'm enjoying it. Which books did I like, dude? I really liked Red Coat, always good, really good issue. But the one I really liked, dude, well, maybe I'll save that. I want to talk about a few other ones first. So the Storm #1, first issue of her ongoing. Another character, X-Men getting an ongoing, which we kind of talked about all these female ongoings. You got Jean Grey, you got Storm, and Psylocke's gonna have an ongoing as well. And then you have the miniseries with like Dazzler and Mystique and stuff like that. So it's very interesting what they're doing here. But the Storm issue was good. It was kind of a different take on, not a different take on Storm. It's just different, but I enjoyed it. And I'm interested to see where it goes. Storm's such an amazing character, and I liked it. And it wasn't floored by it, but I'm pretty excited about where it may go. Did you check that one out?
I did not.
Okay.
I did not.
Check it out.
I did read Jean Grey 3. That was last week.
Okay, yeah.
And Dazzler 1 I did read as well.
Yeah, the Dazzler 1 was not very good. It wasn't very good. I do enjoy that it had because I love like Madrox and Strong Guy, so they were in it, and that was cool.
Yeah.
But it was not very good.
Yeah, it was very. I was reading it, and all I could just see is like Taylor Swift, like the whole concert
they ruined
thing.
It for you.
Yeah, it was just like that. That's what she is, and what else they have, and it's very.
They were singing the lyrics and stuff.
Yeah, that was
it was disconcerting a little bit. Like
I just could. Yeah, I couldn't read it for that. I was reading it, but I'm like, oh, and it's not for everybody. But I mean, like, who realistically wants to read a comic book by singing a comic book, right?
Yeah, it wasn't for me either. But dude, the book that I loved was Hyde Street from Image. Did you check it out?
Hell yeah, man!
Oh,
it would have been my pick of the week if you didn't shut up.
Yeah, that's definitely. Yeah, let's talk about it, man. That was so cool. And Jeff Johns is crushing it, man. He's writing a bunch of books too. As I was like reading it, I'm like, dude, this guy is really putting some books out right now. I feel like he's been quiet previously leading up to this year, but so Hyde Street. So the idea, it's kind of like there's like almost like a supernatural corner or area block. Let's call it a block. And in
street,
this,
maybe it's called a street.
Yeah, but I think it's like but I mean, it's like a block of a street, right? It's like a certain zone. And if you come into this zone, there's like these, I don't want to call them ghosts. I don't want to call them demons or devils. Maybe devils might be a better term. There's some people there who can like mess with you. And if they steal your soul, they get like points. And then it's almost like the
game.
It's like a game. And then it implied, did you get the same idea that whoever scores the most points eventually gets to go back to the real world, kind of become alive
that's
again?
The idea.
Okay, yeah.
So you have Mr. X and Pranky
you
meet
little Cub Scout.
Yeah. So you find out why Mr. X, and Mr. X was interesting because there's a lot of that old school stuff that
we grew up with.
Older. Yeah, exactly. Like we kind of grew up with, and
mail-in
older
stuff.
People. Yeah, a lot of the mail-in stuff that's like, oh, this stuff is so good. You're going to make tons of money. But there's some very interesting things that happened in that first issue where you're like, damn, there's some there's some cool stuff. And then you get to see out there on the scoreboard, like you were talking about, like there's different names of the people and where they're at. And Pranky's #1.
Yeah, it's got like a ton of souls.
Oh yeah.
But it was cool. It's an interesting idea, and it looks like there's a lot of lore to grow. Was kind of the vibe I got too, right? Like there's so much more we don't know yet. But yeah, I really liked Hyde Street.
I assume like this first story arc is going to be each issue is going to be a different character, right? Because I think at the end of this issue, I think it's either on the last page or when they show you like what the cover for #2 is going to be. It's some blue demon looking girl, maybe. I forget. I think that's what it is.
I think issue 2 is about Pranky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like something. I could have sworn I saw something else. But yeah, I mean, it could be about Pranky because he's kind of
I think they
the majority in that issue.
His origin.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, check that out. Ghost Machine Universe, Hyde Street. Cool cover too. And I'm sure like there's got to be some really cool, and maybe they are, like a 3D cover for this would have been awesome with like 3D glasses. Yeah. Something like that.
Maybe New York Comic Con foil.
Maybe. Honestly, that'd be a cool foil cover. The cover is really Pretty cool.
Oh my God, it's gonna happen, man! I'm guaranteed in 3
Yeah.
weeks you're gonna see it at the Ghost Machine booth.
Yeah,
You see a foil cover, 100%.
With that cover, I have no issues with it. What else did you like this week?
Let's see. Last week, some leftover holdovers. You know what I tried to read and I just wasn't a fan of, and it's two things that I absolutely love, but I just couldn't get it into it. Knights versus Samurais 1.
Oh, people were talking about that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it.
Okay.
It was too slow moving. I'm like, all right, Knights versus Samurais, and the Samurais are on the final page of issue 1. There's no big, and they try to introduce you to too many characters, and they introduce you to some characters like you're supposed to know them already when they get introduced. So I wasn't a fan of that. So happy Inquisitors 4 is that series is done because we knew what was going to happen. We knew from the beginning that
Tell me, ruin it because I'm not going to read it. So
Tensu Run dies.
What? No way.
No, and the Inquisitors live.
What?
No, and guess who kills Tensu Run?
Season 2.
Guess who kills Tensu Run?
Fifth brother,
Darth Vader.
No, okay. Dang, he's in it. Who knew?
Yeah. So yeah. Then just happy that's over. So it is what it is. Interesting book, The Battle of Jakku, Insurgency Rising #1.
Yeah.
You get it. Basically, kind of picks up right after Return of the Jedi. There is a very cool interaction where Leia actually goes and visits the grave of Darth Vader.
Cool. Really cool.
Yeah. Oh, you read it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I thought that was really awesome because that's something that you're kind of
never
thought
get
about, right?
Like, we never get that stuff. You never hear about her feelings about Vader at all.
Yeah. If you've read the Dark Horse stuff, there's all Dark Empire and all that stuff, but she never has a question of like how she felt. How, and then Luke kind of senses it, and you get that. Like, you're right. Like, she's grown up to hate him. So it is anger in her mind. So for her to be like that, I completely get that. And she's like, Luke, I'm not like you. Grow up on a farm, peaceful type of thing. I've grown up in a rebellion, and I hate my father because of all the people he's killed. Like, I can't forgive him. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. Like, where was this stuff for so long? So
I liked how she's like, I'm not a Jedi. I'm a normal person. she's like, I'm a real person. I'm not some like space wizard. It's basically what she told her. She's like, I'm not going to hide my feelings like you. Like, I have feelings I need to work through.
And then you just get a lot of, you get a lot of opening for this new not Grand Admiral, but Commander for the Jakku battle that's going to be coming. And that's something that we've seen in Force Awakens. We've seen that towards the end of Battlefront 2 in the video games. So this is all leading towards the final battle of the Rebellion and the Empire, because obviously there's pockets of the Rebellion and the Empire that don't know, or it's whispers across the universe or galaxy that the Emperor died and Vader died and the Rebellion and the Empire is gone. But people are like, no, don't believe that. It's all hearsay. So I thought that was a good issue starting off. Other 2 books real quick, actually 3 books. The Masters of the Universe TMNT Turtles of Grayskull #1 came out last week. I got my variant copy from Jaff Comics, our friends over at Jaff Comics, which had a cool variant cover done by Chris Companion. I enjoyed it, and we talked about this last week with Kevin, how the crossovers are just fun reads, right? Did you read it?
No, I didn't get a chance that one.
I love it because it puts you right into it. It doesn't let that first issue build up where, okay, how did the Turtles get to Eternia? No. It literally starts off with the Turtles are already in Eternia and they already know what's going on. It starts off with April and Splinter trying to contact them. So it's immediately like they got all this cool armor. Freddie Williams, who's been doing the art for pretty much for the majority of these TMNT crossovers, is just killer, just the designs. And then you just see like upgraded versions of, a lot of the He-Man, well, I'd say villain characters, not so much the He-Man characters. But so I thought that was a really good issue. And then it kind of sets it up for what's going to happen throughout this series, which is better than the TMNT Street Fighter. God, that was so bad. A book that it took me probably a week to remember the title, and I was going crazy, and I thought I was going to have to go back to one of our older episodes to talk about it. The final issue of Hardstyle Juice, the Comixology book with the wrestling. So that just ended because I had to go back and read issue 4 because it's been so long. And I was like, what was the name of the book with the wrestling that me and Paperweight talked about? And I'm like, I can't think. I'm like, maybe I should just reach out to Paperweight and be like, hey, what was that book? Because I just couldn't think of the wrestling thing. And I even went on like Google and I was like, wrestling comic books. And of course, the first thing that pops up is like, do a power bomb. I'm like, no, it's not that. So overall, good story. I thought it was going to end with 5 issues, but it actually has a way to continue, the Castro story, because it was the girl Chris trying to find out who killed her brother, and you kind of see that it does have a closing, but there are things that could lead into more storylines. So I thought that was a good issue. And then last but not least, probably if other than High Street this week, if we were going to talk comics last week, my pick of the week would have been Batman: The Long Halloween, the last Halloween #1. Like it's sad that it's not written and drawn by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale.
Yeah.
Because for anybody that's read, Long Halloween, Dark Victory, Haunting Ground, like just the continuation of all that, to see this, because they did have the issue 0, which was for Batman Day, which was done last year. But it came out this year. Well, yeah, it was done last year as a precursor to this. And it had still Tim Sale art, but then now it's like somebody completely different. It's just a good change. Like the artist actually is similar to Tim Sale, but you're just like, man, it sucks he died. But it's a good because it's its own little pocket universe, its own section. It's continuing the holiday killer that it's called. Robin's grown up a little bit more because Robin was very young and just becoming Robin in Dark Victory. So you get a little bit more of that. And then just what's happening with all the characters, Two-Face, Glinda, his wife, who's non-existent in basically main storyline. So definitely pick of the week is going to be, and if they come out with these monthly, like they should, and not take a year and a half or 2 years to finish this story, I hope it's done just as well as the first Long Halloween or like Dark Victory. So that's where my pick of the week goes, is to the last Halloween #1.
Nice.
Yep.
Cool, man. So we're kind of getting to the end of the showtime, and we do have a couple articles, but I would rather talk about Rings of Power.
But I want to talk about the dynamic duo, and then
okay, let's talk about dynamic duo. Let's talk about that real quick. Yeah.
All right. So I am super excited to talk about this one because it is all up my alley for DC Comics. So over at Entertainment Weekly, James Gunn announces DC animated movie dynamic duo about 2 Robins. That is something special he teased on social media. So an animated DC film featuring 2 of Batman's sidekicks is in the works at DC Studios. Co-chief James Gunn announced on his Twitter Tuesday afternoon. Over the moon, excited to announce the newest DC Studios / Warner Brothers picture greenlit for theaters. Theaters, folks. So, dynamic duo, the story of Robin, or should I say Robins, as Dick Grayson and Jason Todd, the first feature film from the visionary Swaybox, a mix of animation, puppetry, and CGI, a script from the wonderful, talented Matt Aldrich, produced with our partners at Matt Reeves, 6th and Idaho. This is something special. So, this is... though Reeves is producing the storyline for Dynamic Duo, it's not going to be tying into the Batman or the spinoff. Instead, according to Variety, it will follow the friendship between Grayson and Todd as youths being tested by their diverging ideas for what their future should be.
It's definitely better than
garbage. Let's just talk this. It is going to be garbage. Jason Todd and Dick Grayson should never be meeting as kids.
Yeah, I don't get this.
No.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, I'm sorry.
And puppetry? Puppetry?
Well, I don't know what that's all about. Maybe backgrounds.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Why? It's just people want Robin so bad, right? Like we've wanted Robin in some form of live action. Granted, this is animated, but why are you combining them? And like they all deserve their own spotlight to like make them share, and then to create some story that doesn't exist. So Batman's now picking up 2 Robins at the same time. I don't get it. I don't know.
I thought about this. Ready for this?
Probably not.
Perfect idea. So,
okay, something good. Okay,
something actually good. This is the only way that this could work in an Elseworlds Batman if this was, let's just say, Matt Reeves' world, they're friends as little kids, this dynamic duo, Jason Todd, Dick Grayson.
Okay.
They eventually leave each other. And later on, Batman picks up Dick Grayson, who becomes Robin as a little bit older. And Jason Todd still becomes Red Hood. And then that's the villain. So then it's Batman and Robin versus Jason Todd as the Red Hood.
So he becomes Red Hood, like somehow other than the original origin, obviously.
Yes. He still becomes Red Hood, but he becomes the villain Red Hood. And then they're like, oh, I know who he is. And it's the dynamic duo.
It's probably exactly what's going to happen. Something like that. I mean, they're definitely going to, because I mean, you got the two guys, one's good, one's kind of a shithead. And, you know, so I don't know. I mean,
and it could actually happen in this movie too. It could just, you know, towards the end, there could be like a future epilogue that's just like you see Dick as Nightwing and Jason as Red Hood. But I think overall, I'm probably gonna go see it. I will go see it, but I don't think this is a good idea. There's no way this is how. It's the same. It's the same thing with, you know, like Gotham by Gaslight. The original storyline the original storyline didn't do this, but the animated movie had all the Robins and Carrie Kelly all together. And I'm like, that's kind of dumb. Like, how do you introduce a Robin if you ever want to? So,
I mean, I guess if you're trying to be positive about it, any excitement you bring to the character of Robin could be a good thing for live action, right? Like if this hits and kids like it and like, oh, we want more Robin, it could be more Robin to it, you know. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you in terms of like, it's like, why are we getting Elseworlds when we really haven't even gotten any like traditional stories? I mean, all we've had is the Titan stuff, which was good, and Batman and Robin, and you know, Batman Forever, which were not very good. But so yeah,
back to it being in theaters, right? For the majority of people, you've probably seen that test 15, 30-second trailer of Batman Beyond that they scrapped that looked just like Spider-Verse. So you didn't want to do that, which looked amazing, but we're going to create a movie in theaters with two Robins as kids. Like, how is this going to work?
Yeah.
Like, who's going to go see this? It's not for the normal audience, you know, like Into the Spider-Verse, like nobody cared realistically at the time, like, or didn't really know too much about Miles. They knew who Spider-Man was. But if you would have brought another Batman Beyond movie, like that would have been epic to go see in the movie theaters.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Well, time will tell. We'll see. Maybe you'll end up being a massive fan of it. Massive fan of it. Maybe they'll shock you.
So. Maybe. You never know. I mean, shit, I got Nightwing and Red Hood on my tattoos on me. The freaking thing better be good.
Oh, the dynamic duo?
The dynamic duo
on your arm. Yeah. Who knew, dude? You always knew. You always knew.
Yeah. So.
Okay, let's get into Rings of Power.
Wrap up with something good.
Yeah, let's wrap up with Rings of Power. So, man, I don't feel like, I mean, I feel like I've been reading a lot of stuff about people saying it hasn't been that good. And like, there's even talk that like they may not come back because like viewership was so low. I loved this season. I thought it was so awesome.
Oh, wait, we got to make sure we put this out there. This is going to be spoilers for anybody who hasn't finished Rings of Power because we're recording this the day that the season finale dropped. Yeah. So if you're not a Rings of Power fan or you're not caught up, we appreciate everybody listening to this episode. Zach and I are going to spoil and nerd out for the next probably 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I loved it because on a couple things. I have some gripes. We'll get some gripes. But you know, you read the books, and I'm very much like a completionist, right? And you know the whole thing, like the 7 rings for the dwarves, 9 for the mortal men. And I'm like, awesome, let's see these things. And so we actually get to see like the creation of these rings, which I thought was amazing. I would have liked to have seen more characters of like named who the dwarf king, the dwarf lords that received it would have been cool. I mean, that's just something that's super geeky and nerdy. I would have appreciated. But even so, like I liked the pacing of it. I liked the whole Anorak kind of you know, in Celebrimbor's like ear. And it's so fun too, because if you played like Shadow of Mordor, right, you know, Celebrimbor is like a big character in that. And so it's like this, I just thought it was really cool, man. I really enjoyed this season. I liked the creation of the rings. I like that you get Sauron like You know, like in everything else, Sauron's just this enigma. There's an eye in the sky or the flashbacks, right? But this is like an actual Sauron character, right? Like getting like doing creepy shit to people. Um, I'm trying to like touch on the things I really like. I liked all that. I liked the depiction of even like with Adar and the orcs and how they're not like, I know this kind of goes against what I always say, which is, oh, don't make the bad guys good, you know, but like the orcs are kind of like it is kind of a sad story. They were created in darkness, but like are they do they have to be evil? And so Adar kind of is trying to like get them away from Sauron and like let them be their own people, the kingdom of Mordor. And then obviously we all know that, you know, eventually Sauron gets a hold of them and corrupts them and makes them like their slaves. He's like, that's the first race of slaves he has before he goes after like men and elves and stuff. That's showing Middle Earth what's in store for them. So I really like that story too with Adar and everything. And yeah, man. What about you? You talk so I can think about other things I like.
Oh man. Shit, it was very good. You know, there was times where I thoroughly enjoyed the show, you know, watching it, like, you know, the stuff where Sauron plays with Celebrimbor's like mind, like all that
Yeah,
stuff, and
that was cool.
how he finally realizes you know, what's happening on the outside of Erechion and that battle. Like, I know people are like, they compared it to like, you know, there's the safe play, you know, and we've talked about this in movies, like the safe play in like Force Awakens. It's just like, hey, let's repeat the Death Star.
Right.
Let's bring back this character. People are comparing like the Battle of Erechion to like Helm's Deep or Minas Tirith, but you realize that that's what the castles were like. So every
Yeah, every
battle
battle is going to be kind of the same strategy.
it has to be, yeah, it has to be
What are
like
we
that.
doing
So
here?
hey, it's cool. It was epic. You know, and
Yeah.
you know, I even got like the chills when the Chinese looking, Japanese looking elf, like, you know, got destroyed looking like Boromir, and then
Oh
lifts her
yeah,
arrow, like pulls the arrow out of her chest, and then uses that arrow, lights the arrow, and then like shoots it. And you're like, dude, this is awesome. Like, this
yeah.
battle is badass. I don't care what anybody says. It's like, well, there's a lot of CGI. Well, no shit, there's a lot of CGI.
There's cave trolls, bro.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
But yeah, that episode 7, like, that was the one that I
Yeah.
watched this morning at 4 a.m. just so
Oh, okay.
the inside conversation, the before conversation that you and I had, I was like, damn, this is awesome. I was like, I need to finish this ASAP. So
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, the stuff, even like the stuff with like Durin and his father.
I love the Durin stuff.
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of him in season 1 too much,
Okay.
but I really liked the storyline and how it paced in this one. And again,
Yeah.
once they start getting the rings and just, yeah, like you said, man, the ring stuff is just cool as hell because it's, you know, you really don't think about it in the original Lord of the Rings trilogy or so much, you know, I don't even really think they talk about it in The Hobbit so much as, you know, the original 3 were pure. Then the next 7 are imperfections. So they create the 9 to, you know, redeem themselves.
Well,
But
that
in
was
reality,
like the ploy. That was the
yes, that
ploy.
was the
Yeah.
ploy. They're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, we gotta fix it." And, you know, it's just so good, you know?
Yeah, they, you know, and I'm okay with even some of the like the creative license, like the changes they did as well. Like even with like I mean, dude, in this episode, the last episode, like the Balrog at the beginning was so awesome. And I mean, like that's not real by the story. Like the Balrog does. I mean, this is still the second age, and the Balrog doesn't awake until the third age. So it is kind of happening a little earlier than it did in the in traditional in the novels and everything. But like whatever, you know, it's still cool. Like you could play him as like they lock him up and he awakens again later, you know, or something like that. But that was really awesome, the Balrog thing.
So I know you're not a fan, and you can kind of explain this to
Okay.
me more, is the Gandalf thing. Now
Yeah.
we were in spoilers, people, so if you're still listening, you've
Yeah.
watched the episode or you know that the stranger ends up being Gandalf.
Right. So yes, traditionally in the books, and obviously, you know, pacing's different, right? But
Yeah.
I think these are something, and you know, you do it's tricky because I do speak about how, you know, books and comics and stuff, and then you get to the movies and stuff. You do have to change the story a little bit. But I felt like Lord of the Rings has always been pretty accurate on everything. And so like why change source material? But whatever. Anyway, the Istari, the wizards, there's 5 of them. They're sent down by the Mire to or by the Valar. They are the Mire. They are sent down to Middle Earth to kind of like combat Sauron and Sauron's rise. And the first one who comes down is Saruman. And then eventually Gandalf comes down, and you have Radagast the Brown. And those are the only three that you really get named in the books. And then, but there were the two blue ones who I think it's like Polando and something else. And their names kind of got revealed like later. And they went east to Rune, which is the desert land. But Gandalf never went to Rune. Gandalf that's even like stated in the books, like he's never been to Rune. So that's different. That's kind of a takeaway, like something a little different. Yeah, I guess I was gonna be unhappy if he was there and it was just gonna be Gandalf. I'm not as unhappy as I thought I was gonna be, because obviously the Dark Wizard Saruman. So that's fine. That shows that because Saruman's first. He came down first. So it shows that he's been there before, right? But what I was hoping for, I was really hoping you were going to have the stranger be Saruman. And you and I talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be, because like Saruman is a bad guy in the Lord of the Rings when you get there, right? But he wasn't always that way. He got corrupted from looking in the Palantir. So at one point he was the leader of the Istari, and he was a good guy. So I thought it would have been cool to kind of show him in that kind of like vein, as like he's the stranger and he shows up and he's still good at this point. Like, it just feels like fallbacks and crutches in a way, right? Like they had like, we have to do hobbits, so they have like the Proudfoot or whatever. Like they were kind of not even, kind of pointless in a way.
Yeah.
I guess you could say, oh, he's, it shows his friendship or whatever. But I would have liked to see Saruman kind of arrive and be like the guy, and like we don't always have to see Gandalf. It doesn't always have to be these same characters. So it wasn't horrible. I liked it well enough. It wasn't.
I can't believe it's getting so much hate. Sorry to cut you off, but like,
yeah, no.
we've been talking about that.
What is the
over
hate
the
it's
weeks.
getting though?
Just that it's not good.
I don't understand.
I don't think it's been. I don't think it's been like a DEI thing or like a fascist
kind of
thing
moved
or
on
like
from
a
that.
gay thing.
Yeah.
It's just people are not liking it, and I don't see where the hate is for the show. Like,
yeah, I don't get it.
I've been
It's not
enjoying
bad.
it. Yeah, not bad at all. Like I've been enjoying it constantly every week. It's better pacing if you watch maybe like 2 episodes in a row.
Right.
Because there are times where I'm like, I forget this, and thank God there's like the previously on Rings of Power. Because there are times where like the stories are so, sometimes the characters are so
it's
far
lore
apart.
rich.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody, and then like the Isildur stuff and his dad, like like what's gonna happen to them, and at some point.
Yeah. It's so fun to watch. Honestly, I think the Isildur stuff is another complaint I have. It's like I wanted more. I want to see more from Isildur. Like the first season, he's kind of this petulant little shit, and then in this season, you're kind of seeing a little bit like him becoming a little bit more mature. I would have liked a little bit more of that. Obviously, you get to see Narsil at the end. That's awesome. How awesome was that? Like, I can't wait to like the next season. Hopefully, we just see the 9 rings go to. Dude, imagine seeing the Nazgul, like these 9 human lords turn into Nazgul. Like that's gonna be sick, dude. It's gonna be so awesome.
I had this thing with I think it was my brother. We were talking. I was like, if this series doesn't end with the battle of, what's the name of the battle of Lord of the Rings, like the Battle of Mount Doom, but I can't think of what it's called.
Oh, Gondor? Like the Battle of Gondor?
No. Like how when Sauron loses to Isildur. Like,
oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
Whatever the name of it is, but I mean, I know it's like the Battle of Mordor, but there's another name for it. Like if the series doesn't end with like that, like them maybe just like on the mountains of, on the plains of Mount Doom, like all the like Isildur, his father, Elrond,
right,
all, Gilgalad,
Gilgalad,
and then you just see all the orcs and Sauron. Like if it doesn't end that way, I'm gonna be upset.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
they should keep going.
They should end it with like the opening scene of Fellowship of the Rings, right? Yes. We're like, Isildur, throw it in. Elrond's like yelling it, like, which is funny because there's all these memes of like, damn, dude, he didn't throw it in and you just like let him F up the whole world. Like you didn't stop him, Elrond. Like that's kind of like you're the villain here.
And that's interesting too, because that Isildur basically gets corrupted by the ring. So you get to see such a pure version of Isildur in like this version.
Yeah. And so that's, I mean, that's all that's for me what I'm loving so much about it is like you said, like, the end, what these characters are going to become. Like, it's why I think I'm bummed out that we see Saruman's like a dark wizard, right? Like, they're already implying that he's bad and that he's going to go bad. Like, it's not how it is, man. I mean, hell, Gollum got a redemption arc. We can't give Saruman some kind of like redemption here, like some kind of good story.
I actually thought he was going to be good because when he's talking to those nomads, he kind of talks to them in a way. He says something like, "Oh, I'm new here, and I hired these men, or I thought these men were gonna find help you or something." Like he didn't realize, like he was being duped.
Yeah,
but
he's duping.
Yeah, exactly. It's at the end, is that Rivendell just like before? Like where they're at when they're like, "Oh, this is a sanctuary. This is."
I don't know.
You foresee that being Rivendell, like them creating it all there?
No, because if I remember, dude, I used to know this stuff a lot better. But like the land, or like where Region is, and like where Rivendell, that's so far removed. Like that's further west, and Rivendell is more middle. Like Region is actually kind of, if I'm right, and hopefully someone's listening who's not going to eat me alive on this. I think Region was like. And Linden was like down where, almost like where the Shire was further east, though, or west. I'm sorry, further west. But
pull up the map.
I know I'm gonna have to, dude.
Does a Region ever make an appearance again? I don't recall.
No, because it's done, dude. It's
I mean, it's destroyed. I just was curious I can't remember if they ever went through it or name it again. That's why.
No, so after that time, it never got rebuilt. By the time the Third Age comes, it's it's donezo.
Because we're right now, basically, let's call it maybe like, maybe 10 years before the Battle of the Lord of the Rings, and then like 200 years before the actual Lord of the Rings movie. Right?
Yeah, so
100 years.
The Second Age, I think the Second Age is considered the ending of it when Isildur gets the ring, I believe. I think it's technically the end of the Second Age. So yeah, so you have to think that Isildur is like a grown man, right? So like 30, 40-ish, whatever.
Yeah, it's gotta go a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah,
it's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be exciting to see Sauron give the rings to the different like kings, the men.
Yeah. Okay, so a Region is I'm looking at a map right here. So if you're looking at a map, I guess I could just share a screen, right?
Yeah, for the people that are not watching and being like, what the hell are they
there are people who've already like tuned out.
Like pulling up the map of the United States, being like, well, this is where New Jersey is compared to Colorado, and north is
I always forget how to share my screen.
Just hit the share button, and then I'll take over.
Where's that at?
Bottom. It says present. Sorry.
Oh, present. Okay. Yeah, there we go.
We're gonna pull this up, people. We're gonna talk again. We're talking Lord of the Rings. We appreciate if you're still hanging with us and want to nerd out with us. Like,
okay, so you can see a Region right here where my mouse is. Can you see my mouse or not? Yep, and then Moria right there where Khazad Dûm is and everything right there. So Rivendell is up here. So maybe it is. Maybe you're right. Maybe it could be. It could possibly it is close to the realm. So
yeah,
it could be that Rivendell is the land. That actually, I think you might be right. I
feel because that's kind of because he even says
it's protected.
Gilderoy says it. He's like, oh, is it created by the ring, like the sanctuary? So.
And then that is the case during the Lord of the Rings. Like Elrond has the ring. He has one of the elf rings that he gets from the shipwright Caradon, whatever how you say his name. He gets that ring because Gil-galad gives his ring to Gandalf. Vice versa. Gil-galad gives his ring to Elrond. And the shipwright gives his ring to Gandalf. Those are and then Galadriel has a ring. Those are the three in the Lord of the Rings who have the elf rings. So
during the movies, or they got rid of them at some point. All right.
No. During the Lord of the Rings movies, it's Elrond, Gandalf, and Galadriel all have the elfin rings.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. So yeah, dude, I liked it, man. And word was it was supposed to go 5 seasons. I really hope.
Wow.
Yeah, that seemed a little.
Well, yeah, I know they dumped. I know who's the Jeff Bezos, right?
Bezos, yeah.
Bezos, whatever. I know like his son was like when I think we talked about this a season or two ago, and when they were talking about Lord of the Rings, they were like his son, Jeff's son was like, yeah, if you do this, do it right, or you need to make sure you do enough seasons to make sure you get everything. So listen,
they did 5-season production commitment worth at least $1 billion.
Yeah,
make it the most expensive television series ever made.
Good.
So hell yeah, dude, do it.
It looks good. Like
it looks great. Yeah, it looks great.
There's not many complaints other than, the typical like Hobbit and Gandalf stuff that I was just like the Brandyfoot stuff is like, I don't really care about their storyline.
Which kind of seemed like they're going to get written out, right? Kind of seemed like their story was done.
Oh yeah, I definitely think their story's done. Yeah, there's no point for them after the next. I think they're going to go more humans in the next season for sure.
Yeah, we're going to see the fall of Numenor, which is going to be awesome. Yeah, dude. So here's it briefly, real quick. It says it received generally positive reviews from critics, particularly for its visuals and designs, but there were criticisms for the writing and pacing. Second season premiered and was released through October. It's been met with lower viewership than the first season and a similar critical response. So, I mean, I guess I get it. Like some of the pacing, if you're not super into it and everything, right, it does it could feel kind of slow. It does feel like things take a while. Like even a Isildur story, it's like, oh man, he barely did anything, right, in this whole season.
Yeah. But I even think it's just a good. I feel like you don't need to know everything that happens in the Hobbits and the Lord of the Rings movies. Like you're not trying to be like, oh well, who's this person? Who's that person? You could just know the idea of the rings.
Yeah.
And then you just be like, this is cool because you get to see all this buildup. So
right.
It's really just watching. It's just like watching a fantasy series.
Enjoy it.
So listen, I guess Wheel of Time is not really going anywhere, right? That was done.
No. It's third season's coming out. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah. So got the two fantasy shows on Amazon Prime. So
yeah.
I know we've been kicking it for a long time.
Yeah.
I think at some point we're going to do a half season. We're definitely going to do a half season on Agatha and Penguin.
Dude, Penguin's so good. Real quick, I've actually been meaning to tell you about this. Let's say it real quick. Not going to say anything else about Penguin, but how about the kind of brought it up because we're talking about the dynamic duo. How about the kind of like symbolism or like there with like the guy stealing the rims in the first episode? I was like, oh, dude, that's very like Jason Todd-esque, right? Like it's like, oh, Penguin picks up a guy stealing his rims, just like Jason Todd did with Batman.
Okay.
Like I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, I have no idea if that's what they were trying to do, but
no,
it was pretty cool.
I just feel like Penguin is Tony Soprano. It's like watching The Sopranos, and the girl who's
Sopranos so boring.
No, dude. But it's
good. I gotta give it another try.
He's just his mannerisms are very just so like
he's
Italianish.
Awesome,
it's mafia. But man, the chick who plays
she's great.
Falcone's daughter is just fucking great too.
Yeah, dude. Colin Farrell, he's got to win an award for this.
Oh, he better. Oh my god, he better.
He has to.
Yeah.
So anyway, well, everybody, thanks for hanging around, letting us nerd out about Rings of Power. Go out there and watch it so it stays alive so we can keep watching more of it. And that's it. We got a couple things coming up. We do have, you're going to see some promotion. We have a comic seller spotlight on Shortboxed coming up here soon. Mr. Prime and myself will be hosting our own little auction for a couple days. What are the dates again? The 12th?
Yeah, it's October 12th through the 14th. It's already listed on the Shortboxed app. You can view some of my books. I do need to list a lot more. I'm waiting for Zach's books to come to me so I can start grading them and posting them. I think I've listed a few variants, a couple Batman, like older Silver Age Batman books, some so far like 3 or 4 books. Variants, some Star Wars I'm going to be listing, some high ratio variants. And then anything else that I feel like throwing up there, maybe something that's killing the children, some slabs, some raws. I know Zach's got some Ghost Rider stuff.
Yeah.
Some X-Men stuff.
Some Silver Age X-Men.
Yeah. So. I'll be posting it a lot in our IG stories throughout the next couple of weeks. So make sure you get a Shortboxed app. I think all the bids are going to start at $10 and these books are well worth more than $10. So thank you so much. Hopefully everybody supports it, and we're going to be, if it goes well, we'll do it again. Yeah. And then we got a couple weeks till New York Comic Con. So if you're going to be there, keep an eye out for us or hit us up and let's meet up. But yeah, that's it. So thanks for hanging with us. First week of October. Make sure you check out our bonus content coming throughout all the month of October. Kickstarter spotlights. Dropped one already. Check that one out. And we will see you guys later. Peace out. Hey, comic book collectors. Do you want to protect what you collect? Do You hate when your comic books slide around in your short box, or you need to turn them sideways just so they don't bend or fall over? Well, look no further than Sidekick Supplies. Their product fits firmly inside your comic box, so you don't need to worry. And not only is their product made in the USA, but also ships free directly to your doorstep. Check out our sponsor, Sidekick Supplies, at sidekicksupplies.com and use the code ComicTom15 for 15% off your purchase. Believe me, you'll be ordering more than one.